Today's reflection sits in a quiet space, the space between waiting and wanting, between where the heart feels anchored and where the body sometimes runs ahead. This isn't a confession, it's an observation, a noticing of something many people experience but don't always have the language for. Something I've noticed is that this struggle doesn't show up randomly. It follows a pattern. Sometimes it's one day, sometimes 2 days back to back. Often it shows up once a month. The details change, the emotions shift. The level of guilt rises or softens, but the questions stay the same. Why does this keep returning? What am I actually looking for? Is it love or is it desire? Because love is present, commitment is present, but still something feels unfulfilled. That's the confusing part. It leads to a lot of internal questioning. Is this about self-esteem? Are priorities misaligned? Is something missing spiritually? People often assume the answer is simple. Read more, pray more, try harder. But what I've learned is that even when spiritual rhythms are present, the tension can still remain. Because this isn't only a spiritual experience, it's also a human one. A new season can begin, a new relationship can form, and yet old habits still try to follow. And as something good draws closer, as promises approaches, desire often grows stronger, not quieter. The imagination becomes more active. Longing becomes louder. Needs feel heightened. There's a real tension that forms between waiting and wanting, between knowing something is coming and having to live fully in the space before it even arrives. Many people try to name this as failure, but what I'm learning is that it's often about timing. The heart may be ready to wait. Faith may feel anchored, but the body doesn't always move at the same pace. Biology, cycles, memory, imagination, they don't always submit neatly to intention. They don't excuse choices, but it does explain the battlefield. And over time, even guilt can change. It may not feel as sharp as it once did, but awareness remains. That quiet unknowing. This isn't aligned. This isn't where I want to stay. What matters most is this. The presence of struggling doesn't mean the absence of grace. Blessing doesn't stop because tension exists. And God's presence doesn't disappear because the flesh is weak. What the season reveals is not a lack of faith, but a need for grace while waiting. A reminder that desire doesn't make someone broken, it makes them human. And that waiting isn't passive. It's one of the hardest forms of obedience there is. If this reflection feels familiar, you're not alone. The space between promise and fulfillment is not a sign of failure. It's simply the place where patience, mercy, and restraint are still being formed. This is raw and defined.